question. He also says that pipe for like a few years down the road when the pipe starts getting kind of filled in.
Well, I can size the pipe on the C factors, a C100 or C150. C150 is clean, brand new pipe.
Okay.
The number I put up here is about a C130. C150 being at the end of its life.
Okay.
It's got very extremely rough surfaces. So actually what I've done, what the Cameron book tells me, is a very clean pipe. To give you an example, 4-inch pipe, brand new, is 2.25 feet per 100 at 200 gallons a minute. At C130, which is medium roughness, it's 5 feet per 100. So I'm actually double my, because I'm conservative, I've doubled the amount of loss on the pipe.
So that means that it's gonna be quieter when it's new.
Well, roughness doesn't add too much velocity. Velocity is going to be your, tell you how quiet the pipe is. Unless you get something stuck in there like a glove or, which happens.
No.
Yeah. He welds them one day and puts his glove in the end of the pipe, and you show up the next day. Just put the pipe on the end.
Find some 4x4, man.
2x4s.
Yeah. Elbows, we're talking about elbows. And Mark, Lisa, and so I'm going to use standard elbow, not a long sweep elbow, but just a standard elbow. 4-inch pipe is 12 feet. So I got 20 of them, 20 times 12.
40.
240?
240. So all my elbows in that pipe amounted to 240 feet of pipe, equivalent length of pipe. Each elbow is equivalent to 12 feet of pipe, a stick of pipe. So not too big a deal, but some amount of deal. And the last one is a T. And we said we were going to figure a side flow T. Is 20 feet. So that's 40 feet pipe. Give you an example, the straight through T is 3 feet. This is a cross flow T, 20 feet equivalent pipe. Straight through T is 3 feet equivalent pipe.
Is that because some of it has a tendency to migrate down like that?
No, it's just the friction loss that it takes to turn that elbow in that pipe,
Okay.
or in that T. So I've got all my piping. Now I need to do my 2-inch gate valve. Gate valve is a little over 1 foot. How many did I have? 2 times 1 is 2 feet equivalent pipe. A balancing valve is 3-inch pipe. Balancing valve is 85 feet. And I've got 1, so that's 85 feet equivalent pipe. And a 3-inch pipe, 100 gallons a minute is 4.5 feet. Feet per 100. And let's just say we got 100 feet of pipe. So that's 4.5 feet. Say this is 100 feet. This was 300 feet. Okay, so now I've got all this added up. So what's this add up to, John?
up everything.
These numbers right here,
Just just those numbers?
yeah, 405.
Okay.
Pretty close. Pretty wrong. Or maybe it's on 440.
445.
445 feet. Okay, so I got a total of 445 feet. 4-inch pipe. 445 divided by 100 times 5.1.
22.7.
23 feet of pipe. Okay, here I've got 87, 92, 96, 97 feet. What that adds up to be? This right here,
91.5.
90.5,
91.5.
92 feet. Divided by 100 times 4.5. 92 feet per 100, pressure drop per 100 feet, so I divide 92 by 100,
4.1.
4.1. 3-inch pipe is 4 feet. Okay, so I get all these units in the same units. So 1 PSI is equal to 2.3 feet. So times 2.3 times 2.3 times 2.3. So I got 1 foot out here,
11.5.
and 11, round off to 12. 4 times 2.3 is 10.
9.2.
And 3 times 2.3 is 7.
Yeah.
And 0.6 times 2.3,
1.3.
1, 23, 4. Okay, what's that add up to?
$57.
57 feet of pressure drop. What's that divided by 2.3?
24.7.
Or 25 PSI drop in our piping system. So let's just look at the chiller and the coils and the strainer. The strainer wasn't very much, but 21, what's 21 divided by 57?
0.368.
40% of my pressure drop. So what happens when that coil, that strainer, or I mean that chiller gets dirt in it? Yeah. Pressure drop is comparable to, let's see, pressure drop 1 divided by pressure drop 2 is equal to Q or GPM 1 divided by GPM 2 squared. So as this number goes down, my flow goes down as it's squared. So if my pressure drop doubles, my flow goes down to 25%. So you can see, kind of the point I'm making is piping, yes, it's critical, but it's only, we take all the components out. Piping was 27, was about 50% of my pressure loss for the entire system. And this is pretty standard. I mean, these rules of thumb are going to be, unless I've just got a huge building or a campus where I'm running thousands of feet of pipe. So you can see elbows. Yeah, what I would do, now as a designer, I'm just going to put a safety factor on that. And if I don't have a good set of drawings, the safety factor is higher. If I get a good set of drawings, have a good set, then the safety factor is lower. And then, you know, there's, like I said the other day, there's some people that take things out to 2, 3 digits, you know, past the decimal. That's kind of ridiculous. But, so now I got a pump. I got to select these pumps. I don't have any pump curves because I don't have access to them. But pump curve looks like we got head and flow, and you've got impellers inside each pump that operate something like this. But then I'll have little circles in here that show me efficiency. So right here is 200 gallons a minute, and right here is, let's say, just 60 feet ahead. So if I had this particular pump curve, and I plotted these lines, so it intersects right there on, let's say this is a 4-inch impeller, and this is a 4.5-inch impeller, and that's a 5-inch impeller. And I'm right in the eye of the best efficiency. So this is something like 75 and 70 and 65% efficiency lines that show up on the curve. So I've got a pretty damn good selection here. And I'm right in the middle of the curve. I'm right in the eye of the efficiency. So that would be, if I had a pump curve, that's probably on something like a 2-inch pump. One thing we didn't add in here, there's probably reducers right here. They'll have some effect on the pressure drop, but negligible. So there's my pump.
Question, why would you put the reducers in there?
Well, probably for a 200 gallon a minute pump, it's probably a 2-inch connection or 2.5-inch connection. I got a 4-inch line. I mean, I don't know that for a fact, but I know that a 4-inch pump will probably do 500 or 600 gallons a minute.
So it'd be kind of a control turtle thing.
Yeah, I mean, it's just whatever size the pump ends up being, 2, 2.5.
Oh, okay, I see, because you have a pump.
It's just the connection size.
Okay, I got you.
Yeah. Now, this is a closed piping system, meaning that if I'm on the ground floor, I got to pump up to the top of the building, 10-story building, and I come right back down. It's a closed piping system. I got just as much head going up as I do going down, so I don't add any H to my pump. Now let's compare that to a coolant tower. Same piping system. I mean, this could be the chiller, this could be the coolant tower. So I'm pumping out of the coolant tower into the chiller, back to the system. But a coolant tower generally is an open piping system. So what's different right here at the cooling tower? I've got the same similar flows, similar type fittings, similar chiller barrel, so it's going to have, you know, very similar calculation. But now I got this coolant tower sitting out here. There's my tube pump. There's my return line coming out here. Usually connecting something like that right there, going down through the internal basins, hot water distribution, across the fill, or the lip drift eliminators, down through the fill, eventually drips down to the basin. Well, this is open, right? So now I've got to compensate for lifting that pipe up. There's H, that right there. So when I had this calculate my pressure loss through my pipe and fittings, this is an actual lift. Then I got to lift that water up because it's open inside here, so that coolant tower is 15 feet tall. I have to actually add 15 feet right here to come up with 72 feet. I'm not saying that the pressure drop's the same on the chiller side, on the tower side, because there's going to be a lot less pipe,
Do you take any consideration of your balancing valves on top of your tower?
Yeah, you might have some more balancing valves here. They would just figure into your piping loss. Same calculation we went through. Got the valves at the chiller, valves at the coolant tower. But then, since I've got an open coolant tower, I had to figure this H in right here, the lift. So whatever my pipe loss and fitting loss I have, add the actual lift for a coolant tower pump. Okay. Any questions?
Yes, sir. How would you determine what your pressure should be when you pipe in there?
I'm sorry, say it again.
Well, like on your suction and discharge
Uh-huh.
of that system, how would you determine what, say, if you just walk up and you start checking your peak flow, how would you determine what kind of pressure you should have on that system?
Well, it's kind of hard to do. I mean, I could take a pressure drop.
Well, I mean,
Here.
like whenever I go up to a building that's existing,
Uh-huh.
and I just start logging things in and I'm checking my pressure, it's kind of hard to tell.
Kind of hard to tell.
Okay.
I mean, you know that how much static pressure you gotta have because of the height of the building. So you know what your relief valve, your makeup valve ought to be set at. Then you really have to find out these values right here. And really what you're looking at as far as diagnosing the piping systems is actual taking that pressure drop right there. And if I know that it's 5 pounds at 200 JPM, and I measure 8 pounds,
Mhm.
and I know that this is gonna be a lot less. If I measure 4 pounds, I know that's gonna be a lot more. On a clean chiller, I should be able to determine what my system flow is just by coming to this point and measuring the pressure drop. And that's just, if I have these two known data, then I can measure that. So I know that my P1 is 5 and 200 GPM, but I measure 3 pounds. So what's 5 divided by 3 squared?
2 point something.
Five divided by 3 squared, 0.5,
It is 0.5?
0.55.
Is 5 squared, divided by 3 squared?
No, it's 5 divided by 3 squared.
Oh, okay, I got
Let's
you.
say it's 2.5, that's a, or it's 2, so that'd be 4. Yeah. Yeah, what was 5 divided by 3?
1.66,
And square that number. 1.66 times 1.66.
2.76.
2.76, okay. So if I don't think that's right.
It's 5 divided by 3, right?
Yeah, right, okay. So my flow is 2.76 times 200, just by dropping that to 3 pounds. If I raised it to 6 pounds, what's 6 divided by 5 squared?
1.44.
1.44. So that's about 150 gallons a minute, something like that. What's
1.44 times 200?
no, no, no.
Oh.
No, what's the reciprocal of that number right there? You know that on your calculator? Okay. Oh, no, I take that back. What's 5 divided by 6? That's right. No, that's down there. That's right. It was right the first time. So again, all I need to know is what the original conditions were and then measure the pressure drop. And I can calculate what the flow is, what your flow should be. But I don't know how much pipe, I don't know all the fittings, I can't predict the system loss without actually going in and calculating. I mean, I can know what the system loss is, because if I can measure the flow here, I can measure the head here and compare it to what is originally designed. For instance, we're designing our pump at 60 feet ahead, 60 feet at 200 gallons per minute. But if I go out here and measure this, and I determine that my flow is 250 gallons a minute, in my pressure drop, I should actually be able to predict, again, pressure drop flow changes as the square of the pressure drop. So I can predict what my head should be, but I can go out here and actually measure it. And then I can work backwards again to know what the actual flow was, or actual head was. It's just, you can do what you're saying, but you gotta measure the head here, measure the flow here, and then you can see what your actual system losses are installed compared to what was originally designed. Okay.
Are those values pretty representative regardless of pipe size? The ratio is going to be about the same if we're going with a 2-inch system or a 12-inch
Yeah.
system?
Most HVAC systems operate in the 60 to 100 feet ahead range. But comparison to fittings versus pipe, yeah. And that's the point I was trying to make, is my pipe and elbows and T's. A lot of people get real concerned about adding an elbow. It's insignificant, but these big devices are here, these coils, pressure drop, strainers, and check valves. Okay. And then the different, and a boiler system would operate just the same. I mean, the boiler might have very low pressure drop here, but pipe calculations and that type of thing are. So since boilers have very low pressure drop, if a chill water system normally operates at 60 to 100 feet, then you'll find boiler systems operating at 40 to 80 feet. Okay. Is there anything else in this that you'd want to delve into deeper? Any special component to talk about tomorrow or Thursday? Okay. We knocked this out in a day. I thought we'd take 2 days. So I'll have to do some thinking about what we're going to do Thursday and then getting to the point where we might start delving into the controls side of this thing and go back through the things that we've already looked at: air handling units, chillers, coils, sequence of operations.
Do you have pump curves?
I can get some pump curves. We don't sell pumps, so I don't have access to them. I get them over the internet. Yeah. Show you some actual pump curves.
I think that would be beneficial.
Okay. We'll just take this information and go through the selection of a pump. We'll do one for chiller, one for cooling tower. We'll see the net positive suction head we talked about the other day, how to make sure that your pump won't operate, won't cavitate when it's operating on the cooling tower side. And we'll talk about elevation differences and go through the calculation process of calculating net positive suction head. It's pretty simple once you've done it once and see. Go through the calculation, and unless you just got a tremendous length of pipe, again, any elevation, the cooling tower is above the pump will work. Again, because you calculate this gauge pressure too. So you start out with 14.7 pounds, even at the same elevation. And you start subtracting your pipe losses. So whatever your pipe losses are, it's just much you set that cooling tower above the pump. We'll talk about that Thursday.
How often do you see a condenser water pump running in a vacuum?
20% of the time.
I know Victory Buildings does.
Yeah. You've got not big enough pipe, cooling tower's not, above the pump enough. Operating in a vacuum is not that necessarily a bad deal if you compare it to, and I'll show you on the net positive suction curve of your pump. So operating at a few feet of vacuum, it may not necessarily be that bad a deal. Operating at 10, 20 feet of vacuum, a pump's gonna make a lot of noise.
That's a pain to get from.
But it, we selected the closed loop system at, something less than 6 feet per 100, maybe a reasonable pressure drop per 100 feet of pipe. And a cooling tire suction, when we go through this net positive suction head calculation, you'll see you don't want any pressure loss. So that pump suction from the cooling tire may actually be larger than your discharge pipe, because I didn't want any pressure loss in that pipe. So you might see an 8-inch suction and a 6-inch discharge on a pump for a cooling tire on occasion. Not very often, but depends on, again, how far is that cooling tire away from the pump